Hello everyone, Gian Reports here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the lockdowns in Australia and what would America look like in a second wave of lockdowns. Australia's second largest city, Melbourne, went into its sixth coronavirus lockdown Thursday, with a state government leader blaming the nation's slow COVID-19 vaccination rollout. Melbourne joined Sydney and Brisbane, Australia's most populous and third most populous cities, respectively, in locking down because of the spread of the highly contagious Delta variant. Melbourne and surrounding Victoria State will lock down for 7 days after 8 new infections were detected, Victoria Premier Daniel Andrews said. Andrews gave less than 4 hours notice that the state would lock down from 8 p.m. He said his government had no other choice because only 20% of Australian adults had been fully vaccinated by Wednesday. To be really frank, we don't have enough people that have been vaccinated, and therefore this is the only option available to us, Andrews said. The time will come when we have many more options, but that isn't now. Andrews has accused a neighboring New South Wales state of taking too long to lock down Sydney after a limousine driver who became infected after taking a U.S. aircrew from Sydney Airport tested positive for the Delta variant June 16th. Australia used their military to enforce the lockdowns. 300 soldiers did patrols in Sydney. The Australian military knocked on doors to ensure that residents are following strict stay-at-home measures. What they're basically doing is showing the people, look, we're the ones who are in control. What's happening in Australia will most likely happen here in America, but it's probably going to be worse. I'm not saying that we are going to see a second wave of lockdown in America, but it's very possible, especially around fall. Here are the things that will most likely happen during the second wave of lockdown. Now, when this information is released that we are going into a second wave of lockdown, there's going to be a decline in the stock market. There's going to be crazy panic buying like we have never seen before. There's going to be civil unrest, and I know for a fact there's going to be anti-lockdown protests. The military will most likely enforce this second wave of lockdown, and we can probably see martial law, especially if this civil unrest gets out of hand. Now, this second wave of lockdown will most likely be way more strict and way more longer than the first one. The lockdown could last for even 6 months. Now, I don't believe our government is going to say, hey guys, we're going to go on lockdown for 6 months. What I think they're going to do is just have a lockdown for 1 month, and then they're just going to continue to extend it for 6 months or even longer. Now, of course, with this lockdown, there's also going to be school closures, so kids are going to go back into homeschool. What will also happen is we're going to see a huge amount of unemployment yet again, and a lot of businesses will start to shut down, like completely shut down, especially small businesses. We'll most likely see food shortages and empty shelves almost everywhere. We will see bank runs. Now, with this long and strict lockdown, this will only continue to hurt our economy and only continue to hurt our dollar. Why do I think all this stuff will happen? Well, let's just see what happened in the first lockdown. We saw stock market decline. We saw panic buying. We saw civil unrest, shortages, empty shelves, massive unemployment, small businesses going down. This lockdown wasn't extremely long, nor was it really strict. So just imagine if we go into a second round of lockdown and it's more strict and more longer. Of course, none of this can happen. We can just continue to have restrictions, mandates, and a vaccination passport. Well, that's all I have to say, everyone. Gian Reports, signing off.